The wind came first, rolling across the high desert like a tired animal, lifting dust from the road and pressing it against the wagon wheels. Then came the quiet. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that makes a man listen for trouble. Caleb Hart felt it as he reined in the team and studied the land he'd just bought for the price of 2 worn saddles and a promise written on brittle paper. The farm lay in a shallow bowl between low hills, a scatter of buildings huddled around a dry well. The main house sagged on one side, its porch posts chewed by weather and time. A barn leaned like a drunk at closing hour. Fence lines wandered where cattle once knew better. To any other man, it was a mistake. To Caleb, it was a chance. Behind him on the wagon seat, his daughter Anna swung her boots and hummed a tune she'd learned from her mother before the fever took her. Anna was 7, sharp-eyed, and tougher than most men Caleb knew. She leaned forward, peering past his arm. "Is this it, Pa?" Caleb nodded. "This is it." She frowned. "It looks tired." "So am I," he said, and smiled despite himself. They'd come west because there was nothing left behind them. Caleb had worked cattle since he could walk, and when the war ended, he'd come home with a limp that never quite left and a head full of quiet nights broken by dreams. The town he'd known had grown crowded, prices high, and mercy low. When he heard of an abandoned farm, cheap, lonely, unwanted, he'd taken it as a sign. They unloaded what little they had. Caleb patched the roof with scrap tin and hope. He dug at the well until his hands bled and water answered. He set snares and hunted rabbits. Anna learned the land as if it were a story, memorizing where the quail burst from brush and where the ground went soft after rain. Weeks passed. The farm began to breathe again. It was on a morning pale with frost that Caleb noticed the first sign he wasn't alone. He'd gone to the barn early, breath steaming, to check the mare. The latch was unhooked. Not broken, unhooked. Inside, the hay bale he'd stacked the night before had been shifted. A footprint marked the dust by the stall, lighter than a man's boot, the toes narrow. Caleb's hand drifted to the rifle he kept by the door. He didn't raise it. He studied the ground, the way his father taught him. 2 sets of tracks led away from the barn, careful, light. They vanished at the edge of the mesquite. He said nothing to Anna. He watched. He listened. Over the next days, small things changed. The kettle he left on the stove moved. A slice of dried venison disappeared. Once, he found the gate to the far pasture closed tight when he knew he'd left it swinging. The land watched him back. On the 5th night, Anna whispered, "Pa, there's someone outside." Caleb sat up, heart pounding. Moonlight cut the room into silver pieces. He reached for the rifle and moved to the door, easing it open. The cold slapped him awake. 2 figures stood by the fence, pale shapes against the dark. Women. One tall, wrapped in a faded blanket, hair braided with care. The other younger, her stance wary, a hand raised as if to calm the night itself. Caleb stepped forward slowly and set the rifle down in the dust, then backed away from it. He lifted his hands, palms open. "I don't want trouble," he said, his voice low. "This is my place now, but I won't harm you." The taller woman spoke first, her English careful but strong. "We do not want trouble either." They stood there, the fence between them, the world holding its breath. The younger woman's eyes flicked toward the house, toward Anna's shadow at the window. "She is your child?" the taller woman asked. "Yes." The woman nodded. "Then listen. We were here before you. Not in this house. In the hills. We came because the cold is sharp this year, and there is water here now." Caleb swallowed. He'd heard stories, some true, many not, of Apaches moving through these lands, of clashes and blood. He'd also seen soldiers burn villages and call it peace. He chose his words. You're welcome to the water, he said. I can spare food. But I can't have anyone living in my house without me knowing. The younger woman spoke then, her voice quick. We are not thieves. I didn't say you were. A pause stretched. The taller woman considered him, measuring. We have been sleeping in the old root cellar. The ground is warmer there. We did not think to ask because men who own land do not usually ask us to stay. Caleb felt the weight of that. He thought of the empty nights, the way the land could swallow a person whole. You can stay, he said at last. But we do it straight. You tell me who you are. I tell you what I need. No surprises. The taller woman inclined her head. I am Nalin. This is Taza. We are sisters. They shook hands the next morning in the clear light, awkward but honest. Anna watched from the steps, curiosity shining. When Nalin smiled at her, something loosened in the tight knot Caleb carried in his chest. Life changed after that, quietly at first. Nalin and Taza kept to the cellar during the day, moving to the hills when they needed to. They helped without being asked. Mending a fence with wire that seemed to appear from nowhere, showing Anna how to find edible roots, setting snares that never went empty. Caleb shared what he had, and in return, the farm learned new ways to live. Nalin told stories by the fire when the nights grew long, tales of journeys and lessons wrapped in humor. Taza taught Anna how to read the sky, how clouds spoke if you listened. Anna soaked it all in, her laughter a bright thing against the dark. Trouble came on a windless afternoon. Caleb was repairing the barn roof when he heard the thud of hooves. He looked up to see 3 riders crest the hill, men with hard eyes and loose morals, the kind who smelled opportunity the way wolves smell blood. They rode straight to the house. Caleb climbed down, heart racing. He met them in the yard. Afternoon, the lead rider said, smiling without warmth. Heard this place was empty. It isn't, Caleb replied. The man's gaze slid past him, taking in the barn, the well, the fields beginning to green. Looks better than empty. From the corner of his eye, Caleb saw movement near the cellar. Nalin's braid flashed, then was gone. We're just passing through, the rider said. Might need supplies. Might need shelter. Caleb stood firm. You'll find both elsewhere. The man laughed. That so? Before Caleb could answer, a sharp voice cut the air. Pa! Anna stood on the porch, hands on her hips. Taza was beside her, calm as stone. The riders stiffened. One spat. You got company. Caleb didn't move. That's my daughter. The lead rider's eyes flicked to Taza, then back to Caleb. Something changed. The smile fell away. We don't want trouble, he said, but his hand rested on his gun. Neither did the land. An arrow struck the dirt at the rider's feet, quivering. Nalin stepped into view on the ridge, bow lowered but ready. Another figure appeared beside her, then another, shadows that might be rocks or might not. The riders cursed. They backed away slowly, eyes wide. Next time, Nalin called, her voice carrying, we will not warn. They rode off in a cloud of dust, their courage spent. That night, Caleb sat by the fire, the weight of what could have happened pressing down on him. He looked at Nalin and Taza across the flames. I didn't know others were with you, he said. They were watching, Nalin replied. As we watch you. Caleb nodded. I don't want this place to be a battleground. Nor do we, Taza said. That is why we stayed hidden. Winter came hard, then broke. The land softened. Caleb planted and coaxed life from stubborn soil. Nalin helped him read the land's moods, showed him where frost lingered and where seeds would take. Taza taught Anna songs that held the rhythm of walking miles without complaint. Rumors drifted in from town. Talk of soldiers moving, of treaties made and broken. Caleb listened and worried. He knew the farm's peace was a thin thing. The test came at dusk one evening when a patrol rode in without warning. Blue coats, tired faces, rifles slung low. Their officer dismounted, eyes sharp. "We're looking for Apaches," he said. "Reports of them using this area." Caleb felt the farm hold its breath. "I'm a farmer," he said. "I've seen no trouble." The officer studied him, then glanced toward the cellar. "Mind if we look around?" Caleb thought of Anna asleep inside, of Nulin's steady gaze, of Taza's quiet strength. He thought of what kind of man he wanted his daughter to remember. "You can water your horses," he said. "Then you'll leave." The officer's jaw tightened. For a moment, it seemed the world might tip. Then Anna's voice floated out, soft and sure. She sang one of Taza's songs, a lullaby shaped like a promise. The sound settled the air. The officer exhaled. "All right," he said. "We're moving on." When they were gone, the stars came out, bright and close. Caleb sat with the sisters on the porch steps. "You put yourself in danger," Nulin said. "So did you," Caleb replied. Silence stretched, comfortable now. Not empty. Spring turned the fields green. The farm stood straighter. Neighbors began to appear, cautious at first, then curious. They saw a man working his land, a child laughing, and nothing that fit their stories. One morning, Nulin approached Caleb with a bundle. "We are moving on," she said. "The hills call us elsewhere." Anna's face fell. Caleb felt the ache before he knew it was there. "You'll always have a place here," he said. Nulin smiled. "And you will always have our respect." They left at dawn, quiet as they'd come. Caleb watched the horizon until it swallowed them, then turned back to the farm. It was no longer abandoned. It never would be again. That night, as the wind rolled across the land, Caleb understood something simple and hard-earned: a home isn't owned. It's shared, for as long as the ground allows. And the ground, at last, seemed to agree.